Hey, New Orleans. It's attorney Russell Stegeman coming to you live from the studios of WBOK 1230 AM this Wednesday afternoon. Warm, hot summer day in New Orleans with our call-in show. If you'd like to join us, join in the conversation at any time, you can call us at 504-260-9265. We invite your comments about any type of legal or justice matter that is of concern to you or the community. I'm here today with Carmen Afaro. Welcome, Carmen.
Good afternoon.
And we have a special show today. Again, it seems like the never-ending, incredible catastrophe of what's going on in the Gulf of Mexico with this oil spill continues to captivate the news throughout the nation as well as in our area. And the damage is just epic. It's beyond description. It is something that even people who dedicate their lives to these type of things can't get their mind around the actual magnitude of what's happening in our Gulf of Mexico. So in keeping with our efforts to want to try to inform you, our listeners, about what the real deal is, we have today a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Interior for the United States. He's now with the Rocky Mountain Climate Organization and the National Resources Defense Council, Mr. Saunders. And he's done a lot of work. He was over the Park Service in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. He used to reside in Pensacola. And so he's got some familiarity with our area as well as national level experience with these type of issues. And we wanted to bring him on the show to talk about what's really going on. I mean, I saw in the paper today they've got a lot of pictures. Carmen, I don't know if you saw the barges, in the Wrigley's. They're parking them across there, and they say you can go 6 feet down under the water. They're trying to block under the water because the oil's coming in underneath the booms because it's floating around. It's showing up in Lake Pontchartrain. It's all over the place. And so Mr. Saunders is going to try to help us with more of the question of, hey, what really is happening from an environmental standpoint?
Right. There's, lots the wildlife and just everything is just it's devastated right now.
Yeah, I keep seeing the pictures of those pelicans all covered in oil and dead fish, and it's just, it's a picture. But like I say, there's now the impact on migratory birds that don't even really live in our area, just kind of pass through on their way to South America in the wintertime. All kind of environmental impact is resulting from this spill. So I believe through the magic of the incredible production and engineering facilities here at WBOK Studios, in the magic of radio, we've got Mr. Saunders on the hotline. Let's see if we can get him to join in the conversation.
And I'm glad to be here.
Oh, yeah, good to have you, Mr. Saunders. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
We are just watching this situation in the Gulf. Just it doesn't seem to be any limit to how bad it's getting. Well,
we are still learning, I'm afraid. And, the more we learn, the more we may find that it is bad in ways we hadn't even thought that it could be. We don't know. It's a disaster that is unfolding day by day in our lives and on our TV sets and on our radio dials.
Yeah, one of the things, and I don't know if you have any kind of knowledge or comment on this, but it surprises me that they don't seem to really have a very good handle on how much oil is actually entering the Gulf from this well.
It is not anything where I have expertise, but like anybody interested in this, I've been following that daily and closely, and it continues to astonish me. And, I hear things that disturb me about folks who think that there are better ways to try and get a handle on that information and have not gotten full cooperation from BP. You know, I have to say that a lot of BP's response just looks to me from afar as having been heavily influenced by their lawyers, first and foremost. And I understand that there's probably legal ramifications. Well, not probably. There are legal ramifications for them on just the quantity of the release. And maybe it's not to their advantage to have us know as much as we can, but it darn sure is to our advantage to know as much as we can.
Well, it did seem to me, from my own perusal of the news over recent weeks, it seems like every estimate BP made later turned out to be incredibly low.
And not just BP in that case. You know, the government has been part of that. There have been experts convened by the government, and they have, you know, as they've gotten better information, raised their estimates. And I think a lot of that just has to do with information that's been available to them. It's been a struggle to get the right information in the hands of the right people, and it's one of the frustrations many of us have had about this.
Well, you know, we live in an era where it seems like for a long time now, the trend when it comes to big business is let's unfetter them and let's not cause them to have to fill out lots of pesky little, you know, paperwork and things like that. So I kind of wonder, you know, how much does the federal government really know about what BP was doing out there or its possible consequences? I mean, I've read some things recently that look like they were just kind of using the mineral management people to kind of whitewash any possible environmental effects in the event there was a disaster.
And the first and foremost lesson to take out of this is we need to have much better oversight of what is happening, and that begins with having enough staff to perform the oversight. You know, I know from my experience in the Department of the Interior that the Mineral Management Service has been one of the most understaffed parts of that department. And I'm not trying to say that's the entire explanation, but I'm sure that's part of it. We've read about how BP, and not just BP, but the other oil companies, clearly just cut and paste information from Alaska permit applications to describe what the response would be in the Gulf to protect walruses and such. And somebody in the government should have been reading that and raising some questions about how well they've really thought through what to do in the Gulf.
Well, do you really think the United States government is equipped to be able to regulate and control the affairs of a company like BP? I mean, BP is not like a normal company. It's not like a grocery store. I understand they are the fourth largest international corporation in the world, and in some ways, I think they're pretty formidable, even for someone like the United States government to have to deal with.
Well, the United States government has all the authority and potentially all the resources that need to be brought to bear. So, yes, we absolutely can do the job that should be done. It's also as clear that we have not yet done the job that should be done. And the government needs to have the staff to be reviewing things and doing inspections of all these operations, you know, ones that are underway. We've recently learned, because the Associated Press went out and did some reviews, that there are closed down wells that have not been inspected at all in the Gulf. You know, there's just lots of different pieces of this, but clearly the biggest attention needs to be paid where the risks are greatest, and that is in the deepest water exploration, as we've seen right here.
Well, yeah, I know plenty of people that work offshore, and you don't have to talk to too many of them to find out that this sort of thing, to quote a friend of mine, happens all the time. Not on this scale.
Right, not on this scale.
There are damaging releases that happen all the time, and no one really seems to care or pay much attention to it. It just kind of goes unnoticed.
Well, this is different now, and everybody's paying attention now, and people are caring now. And now is the time for us to take some lessons from that. And one, for sure, is we need better oversight. Another lesson is that, you know, we need to think about how we're meeting our energy needs, because we've used up a lot of the most available petroleum already. The industry is having to go farther and drill deeper to get the petroleum that we're using now. And that's a precious commodity that we should not be just wasting when we don't need to. I think one of the lessons we need to take out of this is to think about the dangers of our over-dependence on oil, not just foreign oil, which has lots of national security and other ramifications, but the oil we're getting here. And the more we can improve our efficiency and meet our energy needs by using less oil, the more we reduce the odds of this ever happening again.